What's up, guys? It is John from Side Hustle Experiments. Today I have Noelle on. She is the founder of Kona Reselling Warriors, a Discord group. She is a great person. She talks a ton about how she sources, how she runs her business. We cover her favorite sourcing methods, some of her goals this year, how she sources, what she's typically doing, what her typical week looks like, and how she structures it. Definitely very interesting. I've never really heard anyone how they have their week structured like that. We cover things she wished she knew before she got started on Amazon. We could talk a little bit about bookkeeping and much more. So this is a great interview. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe. All her stuff will be down below. So make sure to go follow her, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for being here, Noelle. I really appreciate it. Noelle owns the Kona Reselling Warriors Discord group. She is an Amazon seller, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm
Cool.
excited.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I started in March of 2021. Pretty much what made me find Amazon or was looking for something to do online was I had my first kid. So I was like, I'm not going to go back to working 40 hours a week at a grocery store because pretty much how much it was going to cost for someone to come babysit my kid, I was going to be working for free. Like I was going to be working just to give them my whole paycheck. And I was like, no, I'm going to find something from home I can do. I don't know what it is. So I just went to YouTube and I watched probably, it was 2 weeks worth of all different types of videos, because you have to weed out the junk. There's a lot of fake ways to make money online. That's not as easy. And so I really got into eBay was at first because I could go to garage sales and I was like, oh, I love garage sales. I love buying stuff like that. Let's go ahead and do that. So I really jumped in on that. And then I actually found Richie Hustles, his YouTube channel, and I saw him doing like a bunch of clearance RA. And I'm like, okay, that seems a little bit more promising because it's something that you always have Walmart to go to. You don't always have garage sales to go to,
Right.
and thrift stores. You really have to know what you're looking for. You can't just scan everything. You got to look everything up. And so that's how I kind of transitioned into RA was from Richie. And that was probably maybe 2 months in because I
Okay.
tried to do books for about a month or two. And I quickly realized this is like, I can't do this I had a baby. I would go to every thrift store and I had a baby in my stroller and I'm scanning books for like 3 to 4 hours in the thrift store. And I'm like, I can't do this. I need something
Yeah.
more manageable.
I don't know how I did it to like this day. Like when I look back, I'm like, why were you doing that? Like,
Well,
obviously it all worked out, but it was like, oh man.
at first you have so much time is what you feel like. You feel like you have so much time. Time isn't worth money necessarily at that point to you. So you'll spend 3 or 4 hours in the store and it's like, that's my job. That's what I'm working towards. And so then I got into Amazon through Richie Hustles and some other people I kind of saw. And so I signed up for an account a week or two into it. I got it. I started doing books because that was what was the cheapest. And after a month or two of that, I was only maybe doing $500 to $1,000 in sales, nothing
Uh,
major. And then I started doing RA and I kind of jumped up to like 3,000 that third month. So I was like, okay, this is, I think, what I need to do. This is way more manageable. I can scale it. And that was kind of really where I saw it because like I can do this for sure. Whenever I went into Amazon, my mindset was, it wasn't, oh, is this going to work for me? It was like, this is going to work for me. Like, I'm going to make this work no matter what. These people are making money. I know I can. So I was always determined it was going to work out. I wasn't taking no for an answer because I'm not going back. My
yeah.
husband's like, you only got a few months and it's like, you got to start making money. So I didn't really have a choice. It had to work. So
Yeah,
I
I
did.
would like that's like it's such a great attitude to have too, because like everyone's just like, oh, like what else you get suspended? Like, it's like I don't know, like I'll figure it out. Like if it happens, then like I'll figure it out. Like I'm not gonna want to pay like $2,000 to $3,000, but like there are people out there who could help me for that. So like I'll probably do that. But like it's just
Yeah.
gonna work out. I don't know how,
And I
but
didn't even,
really
yeah, I
cool.
didn't even think about coaching calls. My best friend was YouTube and Google. When I had a question, I'd Google it and I'd find the answer. And I would just keep going off of that. And I remember my very first, like the most excited sale I got for RA was I found these like protein bars at Big Lots and I made like $8 on each one. But that was a lot for me because I was
Yeah.
grabbing anything, even with something for like $1. I was grabbing some stuff for 50 cents. Like I was just trying to make anything. And so when I had like $8, I was like, that's when it clicked in my head. Whoa, I can like if I sold 10 of those, that's $80. Like,
Yeah.
okay, because I was just trying to make $400 a week. That was like my minimum.
Wow.
And so that's when things kind of got exciting and kind of when my husband was like, I think you may be onto something. Like your sales are starting to pick up, like stuff's starting to roll. And then from there, I did RA. I got involved in a Discord within my fourth month. And then I just like my sales shot up through the roof. That was when the chlorine and the
Okay.
pools happened. So I went from doing like, I think I did like 500, 1,000, 3,000. Maybe I had a 5,000 month, and then all of a sudden it went to 70,000 in sales.
Wow.
And I will say I like maxed out like credit cards during that time because it was like there was so much opportunity and crazy ROI and money to be made that we're like, this is worth it. Like we're putting all our money into this. And we were like crazy about chlorine and pools. So that's when I went to 75K. I think I had that for like 2 months. And then it started trickling down a little bit. But then I got into away from there. And then it's kind of just been progressing ever since. So, and now I'm here. But
No,
that's kind
that's
of the
awesome.
startup of it.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear like how people start and kind of how they scale up, or like I feel like everyone usually has that moment. And I think like what you said was important. You're like, I just needed like $400 a month. Like you don't need to do $100,000 in sales every
No.
month. Like if I always say that if someone's like, well, like I don't know, like I can't. It's like you just want to make like $200, like a month, like to put away or to go on vacation for the year. Like you can totally do that. Like you don't
And that's
have
what
yeah,
I
like,
tell people that all the time. I'm like, what's your goal? It could be totally different. Like you can be successful and only make 5,000 in sales. And if that you're happy with that profit and say you're making $2,000 and that's all you want to make, like you're successful. That's where you want to be. You don't have to be, hitting those big numbers and always doing more, like you see on Instagram, we're always trying to beat our next month. And sometimes you can get caught up in that. You're not actually like happy. So you kind of have to find out what works for you. And if it's 2,000, it's just to replace your last income and then chill. Like that's good enough. You don't have to get crazy with Amazon.
yeah, no, and I think yeah, that's definitely I think a lot of people get caught up in that, and I've just seen a lot of people kind of drop off of Instagram. I think a lot of people were chasing bars, and there were a lot of screenshots of like high credit card balances and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and like that kind of all went away. So yeah, you got to play your own game and kind of know what you want
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, it's always learn the basics, and once you learn the basics, you can either go as high or as low as you want, and it just becomes like a number game at that point. But I would say, that's why I always tell people you're really not going to be profitable until like the third month of Amazon, just because you have that big learning curve, you're putting a lot of money in, and you're not really going to see that return until that third month, just because that's just kind of how it works. You're learning, you're going to make mistakes, and it just takes a lot longer in the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of people ask, like, well, like, how'd you do it? It's like I had a job, like that, like funded like my life, and then like everything else just like went into the business, and I didn't take anything out. And like, I guess that's not possible for like everyone, but like that's, I mean, if you could just do like a side gig or something, like it's just essential to like keep as much money in the business as possible.
Yeah, and that's wise, having like actual money. I used credit cards off the bat, which you have to be really careful with, but that's what I played with. I've just played with money that wasn't mine and then just paid off those. You just have to really keep yourself accountable for not spending too much too fast.
That's what happened to me in Q4. I basically was keeping an eye on it, but then like I quickly realized like I ran up almost like 100K. And I was like, wow, like this is like way too much. Like I think like the most it was ever was like 50. I kind
Yeah.
of like to have like either in the bank or like with estimated Amazon payout, like kind of the credit card bill. So
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're like really over leveraged right now. And I just kind of I was like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna take a step back here, and like if I'm disappointed, it will be like a learning lesson for next month to like push through that stage.
Yeah,
going.
that's when knowing your numbers is important because then you know how much extra can I put in this month to grow without like straining the business and putting that pressure on the business that you may not want. And I mean, I'm still learning that. Like I said, I'm not that it sounds horrible, but I'm not that good with my numbers right now. Like I really want to get into knowing like specifically like ASINs and like knowing how much over time was that ASIN profitable, and like those things. Like I really want to get down to that like this year. That's probably one of the big things that I want to focus on.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things for me was, I was using inventory labs and then I started using Seller Board to kind of track more and they do like sales estimates. So like when I was looking, I was like, I don't know about this. Like this estimate seems like pretty ridiculous. And
Yeah.
it was pretty accurate. And it also estimates your payout. So I was like, okay, like if this like somewhat goes to plan, like even if it's 20% like accurate or like off, then like, oh, I'll easily be able to pay. But like it wasn't like super obvious at first as you're spending because
Yeah.
you're spending a lot in October, November. I think I kind of cut it off around like probably the first week of December, maybe ish.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of buying like Legos or like random stuff that was just like too hard to like pass by. Um, but yeah, definitely a learning lesson for next year. Kind of just like if I had to do it all over again, I would probably just keep going and like spend nothing in January and February and just like chill out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you gotta learn what works. But yeah, January and February are very low spending months for me.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah, I'm definitely learning that too.
I'm just so caught up with other things that it's not the highest priority. December payouts can kind of roll into January and February where
Yeah.
like you're good, financially, like you're not stressed because you had such a big like profit and sales in December.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to learn that too because when I was first starting, it was like I had a book business and I was doing like maybe only like 10 to 20K in sales and OED. I just couldn't do any more based on having other business. And it was like, oh, 10 to 20. Then it went to like 30, then to like 40. I'm like, okay. Then it went to 50. And then I just shut books down and it went to like 70. And then we
Yeah.
did like, and it was just like, wow, like, okay, like I start, like, I'm understanding, like, you don't always have to beat the next month. I mean, if you want to do that, like, you can, but it's like, I think it's a balance. Like, I was just more like, oh, like, I have to spend like X amount this month to like keep this going and this and that. And like, when I didn't spend like that in December, like, everything kept going. And I was like, oh, like, interesting. Like, it's just kind of like this like little wave that you have to like, ride like how you want to ride it.
Yeah, and you just have to be wise when you start it back up. Or if you wait too long, then you're gonna see like too big of a dip and you're like, oh crap, I need to get back on it. I need to start spending some more money again.
Yeah, that's kind of I was like super nervous because like the beginning, I think like the second week of January, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start spending again. And it was like it was nice not to spend and
Mhm.
like kind of just be like, okay, like this is cool. And then I was like, okay, it's time to start doing it again. And it was like super rusty, like even
Me too.
I was like, damn, like, going through like replans, like, oh, this isn't profitable anymore. Like, I need to find some like new stuff here. And then like today was like the last 2 days, I had like some really good days of like spending. So yeah, just always like drip and drab too. It's like you don't have to spend every day, and it's just like it's always nerve-wracking, like not spending your budget or whatever you're trying to do. But for me, it's always worked out. Like I always just hit a sale like at 120 of the month, whether I'm spending like 5 or 10K like that day or whatever, it just
Yeah.
tends to work out.
Yeah, that's how I am. I don't spend like every day. Like some people are like, oh yeah, I gotta at least spend like 500 a day. I mean, I guess if you want to keep track like that, but I'm just like a month person. Like just tell me what I gotta spend by the month. I'll like get it done. Cause I'm someone who I'd rather sit for 4 or 5 hours, just fully source, buy a bunch of stuff, and maybe do that like twice a week, 2 or 3 times like max. Like I don't like to source every single day, all day, because I get burnt out. But yeah, like you said, I took like 2 weeks off. It's kind of hard to come back. I was like, oh yeah, I got this Amazon business I got to do. And the very first time I sat down to look at stuff, I was like hitting walls. I maybe bought one thing and it was maybe $50. It was like nothing. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing this today. And then the next time I was like buying, I spent like probably 5K within like an hour and a half. And I was like, oh, this is better. Okay, this is what I remember.
Yeah,
So
no, that's kind of yeah, just how it goes, and it's just yeah, like a wild kind of like roller coaster ride. Just you just have to like kind of figure out what works, and that was probably one of my biggest like learnings this year is like I was the person like oh you got to spend like $1,000 a day and this and that, but now it's just like no, like that's 100% wrong. Like you could and I think it's also better for cash flow too. You could depending on how your credit card bills are going to fall, like kind of plan around that. I'd rather spend like 20, 30 grand in like 2 or 3 days and like have the whole month like for
yeah.
go to Amazon and like get checked in than like spending 1,000 and like it just like trickles through the billing cycle and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, like for me, well, not right now, but what I like to spend is around 50K like a month.
Yeah.
And how I kind of see, because of my prep center, I want to hit those because it's like a sliding scale. So I try to hit like at least 1,000 units a month. Like I may like,
Okay.
or 2K units a month, whatever I'm trying to reach. So that's kind of what like I keep in mind. Like I want to hit units. I may not always look at the numbers. So sometimes if that's more, great. Sometimes if that's less, like that'll be okay with me. For me, it's really about hitting units because then I get like cheaper rates for that. So I see it like that a lot
Okay,
too,
yeah, yeah.
where I'm like, okay, how many units am I at? Am I only, at, even if I've hit my 50K, if I'm not at a certain amount of units, I'll like spend more to try to hit that.
Got it. That makes sense. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know I launched a free Discord called the FBA Inner Circle with my good friend Joe, Amazing Asins. Starting an Amazon business could be really tough, or if you're trying to scale, that could be just as hard. So we wanted to create a community of like-minded individuals to help sellers at all different stages of where they are at their business. We do weekly Q&A calls. You could just literally put your question in to the channel and we'll answer it on that call. And we also have how you can get ungated, a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you want to grow and scale your Amazon business, definitely check out and join the FBA Inner Circle. There will be a link down below. It's totally free. Or you could head over to sidehustleexperiment.com/FBA Inner Circle. Hope to see you guys on the inside.
So I kind of think of it like that too. That's kind of how I source as well. Like sometimes I'll buy like a couple more. So I'm like, oh, let me add a little bit more inventory to it.
Yeah, no, that's always good. So what does your current business look like today? Are you doing all the sourcing? You mentioned you had a prep center, so they do everything
Yeah,
too?
so I have a prep center. I was doing Q4 is like its own little world. So I don't want to include that with what I usually do. I do a little bit of FBM. So maybe like 4 or 5 orders a day. Like it's very small. Usually it's like hazard items, things like that that I can't send to the prep center. But I mainly send everything to my prep center. It saves me so much time. I buy it, I type it in my prep center, I send it to them, and I don't have to think about it again until it goes live. And so that's kind of how the prepping all works. And then as far as sourcing goes, I do have one VA that's been sending me stuff. I really use right now I'm kind of using her for my leads, but I also use them for my own Discord's leads recently. So I've been doing that, and then I mean the business side, like all the boring stuff, I just do myself. So nothing fancy, I do source on my own sometimes, but um it's pretty much I'll look through leads through my Discord, that's kind of where I start, and I kind of just like run with that.
Nice. Yeah, and I've definitely gone like back and forth. Like I have 2 VAs and it's just I don't know. Like Q4, I didn't use any of their leads. I just was like laser focused on
Oh
like
yeah, I had
certain categories. I didn't really like talk to them, which probably wasn't a good thing, but I was just like, no time for this. Like we're not test buying stuff right now. Like this is just like
yeah,
doubling, tripling down on what's working.
that's how I was so busy, and I know I had her actually look at leads that were like specific sales going on, and I didn't even have time to look at those. I'm like, whatever, I guess I just like wasted money because I know those aren't going to be on sale anymore. So I've had to kind of weed through those, but yeah, I agree. I've only recently started actually looking at that stuff like within the last couple weeks.
Yeah, same here. I still have like, I don't know, like 100 or 150 that are just like in a spreadsheet, and I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'll like run them through like TA or something. What's like your favorite sourcing method?
So this was kind of running into what I was kind of answering. I kind of stopped because I didn't want to like get ahead of myself. But pretty much my sourcing method is kind of manual sourcing a lot. So kind of like I said, I'll go through like my own Discord leads that I have 2 other staff in there that post. So along with mine, I'll actually go through and I'll just start looking at those leads if I want to buy them myself. And then from there, I'll look at like related products, or maybe all of a sudden I see a storefront that, oh, this person may be good to look through. And I kind of just start like following rabbit trails within those like leads already posted, or like my VA leads. I'll look at those. And then, I start to look, oh, well, if this one's profitable at a 3-pack, let me see if there's a 2-pack or like a 1-pack, whatever. So that's kind of how I've been like sourcing lately. And that's what's been going really well for me, because it kind of gives you a starting point, and then I can just expand however far I want from there. And I usually end up like having to close out the computer, still like I could still source, but I have to stop because I just don't have time. Like I got to go make lunch or like put my kid down or something. So that's what's been like my main way I've been sourcing like this month, and I'll probably continue to do that.
Yeah, no, I've definitely find manual sourcing like reverse sourcing is good and all that, but I came up with like kind of the theory like in Q4 you really can't reverse source because like no
Yeah.
one has like the Q4 Legos or any of that stuff just yet. I mean, maybe if they bought it in October, but like it's still like very iffy like what's going on. And yeah, I just really came back to like manual and like realized it's really annoying, but that's how you like find the best stuff. Like we did
Yeah.
in our FBA in a circle Discord the other day. Someone was like, "Oh, like I just can't find anything," and it's like the answer is you just have to like keep going. Like it's like the crappiest answer ever, but like that's the
Yeah.
answer. Like there's really no magic like around it.
And it's like if you're getting burnt out and you've been sourcing for an hour, you haven't found anything, that's when I just shut the computer and I'm like, I'll do this later or tomorrow. Because I'm like, if I'm already in that like mentality of this sucks, I don't
Yeah.
want to do this, like I'm not going to be as proactive as I could be. So I usually just shut the computer and then I go back to it later. But a lot of times with like sourcing, I'll use like the seller amp. So if I'm actually on the website, like a Tart or whoever, I'll just hit the seller amp and see if anything pops up quick on the side. A lot of times it does, and then I can easily see, okay, yes, no. And then if it doesn't, that's when I'll manually like copy and paste it into Amazon.
Yeah,
So
that's what I do a lot too.
I was
It's so
gonna say
much easier.
that's what I do. And then as far as like reverse sourcing, I will try to do that. But like you said, almost all the time, unless I find like this magic store, that has all these good stuff that I'm finding, a lot of times I'm not finding anything profitable, and I'm feeling like I'm taking so long going through all their stuff that I could have found something on my own a lot quicker.
Yeah, and I also think with reverse sourcing, it's almost like I feel like a lot of people buy stuff on sale or there are
Hmm.
sales. I feel like you really just have to like mentally bank what you're looking at. I've definitely seen that where I'm like I know the person, I'm like, I don't know where they're getting this or like how they're doing it. And then like I'm just randomly scrolling his site and it's on sale. I'm like, ah, okay, like this is where they're getting it. This is how they're getting it for that price. And it's just like, and I think a lot of people think, oh, like this person's not profitable or this and that, but it's just really they hit a sale right or they figured out like a coupon code or
Hmm.
something just
Coupon and
clicks.
gift cards. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't even want to try to figure this out, because trying to figure this out, I could just find something else that is a lot easier. So I agree. Reverse sourcing has not been my go-to. I used to do TA a lot, tactical arbitrage, and use that software, but I haven't like personally used that in a while. I'll run like wholesale catalogs and stuff through there, but I really haven't used it like on my own for my own sourcing methods. I've just been doing all manual.
Yeah, I've started to kind of do a little bit more, but I feel it's just as much work to like go through what they put in there, and I think it's not good for purchasing stuff right now. It's good to like find items that are out of stock so that when they come back in stock, you can buy them, but not really for stuff unless there's like a crazy like you're searching a sale in there that you could kind of buy
Yeah,
something in
I
there.
was gonna say that's usually how I would run it. I would run like Walgreens sales through there. It was almost always sales. Anytime I just ran like a generic scan, it wouldn't really spit out anything. It was always sales is what I put in for that, like for the OA sourcing part.
Got it. I want to take a quick break and ask if you could do me a quick favor. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it on your favorite social media platform. Just take a screenshot. It would mean the world to me. I'm on a mission to help other people make money selling on Amazon so they could quit their full-time job and live life on their terms. You subscribing to the channel will help you see more content like this. You liking the video will help other people see more content like this. It is a win-win for everyone, and I would just really, really appreciate it. We spend tens of hours a week on content like this. So if you could just like and subscribe or share on social media, it would really mean the world to me. Now back to the video. Yeah. So how many hours do you think you work on your business or the Amazon side?
Not including Q4. Q4 is heavy. I was
Q4
probably doing like 40 to 60 hours a week. It was nuts. But on a normal thing, I would say like probably, I want to honestly say 20 to 30.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty normal because I usually get like anywhere from 2 to 4 hours in the morning, and then I may do a couple hours at night, and then that's it. So maybe six hours a day at max, which is probably unlikely. I usually don't do that full 4 hours and then 2 hours in the evening. And then I usually take off 2 days during the week just because that's when my husband's off. So I try to actually have days off. So I may do some like generic, like checking on my Amazon account health, A to Z claims, returns. I may do those type of things. So maybe an hour on the days off, but I would say probably only 20 to 30.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people, I'm like guilty of it, of like you're making all this money, but you're also working like a lot of hours. And I think I have to do a better job this year of like keeping that more in check. I mean, Q4 I prepped everything myself. So
Oh, it was a mess. I was killing it. Yeah, it was hard. That's why I got so burnt out. I was like halfway through the December, I was like, should I keep going for 100K for the month? And everyone's like, yeah, you got it. And in my head, I'm like, that's not the answer I wanted to hear. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, I was like I would wake up at like 5 in the morning, like basically source, like figure out replans, do all that. Like if something like whatever came the day before, I'd like prep that. And then when stuff came at night at home, I'd start like prepping that and like just repeat the process. And it was brutal. It just like really caught up to me at like probably like the last week of November, right after Black Friday.
If it's just you, it's rough. It's rough when you don't have like other people to help. So that's why it's like at a certain point, you're like, you know what? I'm happy with this Q4. I'm done. I'll let the sales trickle in and I'm just gonna like enjoy myself.
Yeah, no, and I think that's important too. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just about being smarter about it, I think too. If I were to do Q4 over again, I'd buy much heavier and probably late September, October, and just send everything to prep. Because basically what I did, I just bought the same stuff over and over again for like 3 months. I should have just bought it all up front and just like chilled out and let the prep center kind of take care of everything.
Yeah, the hardest part about that is like actually planning out when do I need to do that by? Because like before you know it, it creeps up fast, and then you're like, oh crap, it's already December, or like it's already November, and I'm already like behind, you know? So planning is like a huge thing to be able to save yourself like a ton of time. Because I know you had said in another, you know, when you came on my Discord that you said that you already knew what you were gonna buy. Or right?
Yeah.
Didn't you say you already know what you're gonna buy for like Black Friday before Black Friday even hit because you found out, you know, what those sales were. So I think something like that is something I want to do this year. So I don't have to, you know, 24 hours, I'm like only on my computer, you know, my eyes are hurting. I want to already buy what I want and then like get out of there.
Yeah, that's basically what I did. So basically last year, I just kind of kept track of like, I didn't do the best job of it, but a general sense of like what deals were going on in like Q4. And like as like I would look at it and be like, oh, like next week, like Target's probably gonna have a sale, or Walmart's gonna have Legos on sale, or whatever it might be. And then kind of look at the stuff I bought last year and see if that's in stock and like kind of plan around that. I did use TA a little bit to like if I knew Target was going to be like buy two get a toy free or something like that,
Yeah.
I'd run that scan like the week before, and usually their sale was kind of disappointing this year. It definitely was not as good as last year, but yeah, like knowing what to buy right before is the biggest advantage ever because
Mhm.
not like even if you're the most focused, like disciplined person, like you're just going to be like jumping around because it's like I don't know, but I get a lot of DMs and stuff, and now I have like a lot of friends and like text like, oh, like this person's having a sale, or and just like jump around and like you you like spend an hour like, oh, I don't have time. Like, there's so much other stuff I got, and then
Mhm.
like you end up buying like nothing or like
Yep.
bad stuff because you're not really like focused. So that was kind of my thing this year. I don't know whether it was a mistake or not, but we literally just shopped, or me rather, like 3 or 4 stores and sales, and that was it. Like I know
Yeah.
there's so much other stuff out there, but it was like whatever. Like it turned out really well, and I don't really care.
Yeah, when you're like a one man crew, like that's what you have to do. You can't hit them all. Like you just have to know it's okay. I'm not going to be able to buy everything I want to. But I feel like that's also where, as you grow, having a VA is like, because you could be like, hey, this VA, go look at Target. Hey, this VA, go look at Walmart. Hey, this one, go look at this and this. So then they're all able to come together and you're able to buy from so many more. So I feel like that's definitely where having a VA or multiple VAs is like really beneficial for you as like an Amazon seller.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of the goal for, I don't exactly know what the goal is, but it's definitely to kind of outsource a little bit more of that. But it definitely, I think I got a VA too early in a sense because I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday. It's like all the stuff they're putting in the sheet now is like not that great, but it's because I thought it was great when they first started because I didn't know what I was doing. So
Oh,
now it's just like they have bad habits because it's like, no, this really isn't that good. Like I just didn't know what I was doing, or I got lucky on the listing, or whatever it happened to be. So now I kind of go through that process of like retraining or just kind of regrouping and kind of going from there.
yeah, which takes time in its own sense. That takes a lot of time to train them up. But once you get them all trained up, it's a lot smoother for you.
Oh, definitely.
So
So
it's a
you
give
said
and take.
good.
I say it's a give and take for sure.
Oh
Like you're gonna
yeah,
get your
for
time, but
yeah.
you're gonna get a lot back in return.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like I'm working with a video editor one right now, and it's awesome, but I have to be like 6 videos ahead of him. And I'm just don't have the time to be 6 videos ahead right now. So it's super challenging, or like have him like cut up this interview and make like Instagram reels and stuff like that. It's just very hard to like sit down and make the time for that when there's like so much other stuff going on.
Yeah, it
Uh,
sounds like you need a video manager as well now. You have to
yeah,
get
that would
someone else to
definitely
review
be.
those. You need someone else now to review those videos that they do and then give them feedback. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
how it works.
so
Like you start to realize, wow, I actually need more people for these little tiny jobs because
well, yeah,
those
that's the other
take
thing too.
time.
It's like just uploading it to, like that's was like it's like, oh, like you just make a YouTube video. It's like kind of not really. It's like, well, you
Mhm.
gotta download it, you gotta upload, you gotta put the tag and it's just it's probably like a 2 hour, 3 hour ordeal, like all said and done. And that
Oh,
doesn't
for
include
sure.
like filming it
I
or
mean,
thinking through it or whatever.
yeah, I mean, I started YouTube and then things got crazy and I haven't posted video in I don't know, probably like at least 4 months. And I want to get back to it, but like you said, it's a lot of time that you have to take out, to make sure. And I even have a video editor, but like you said, you have to go through, give them like the dialogue and all this stuff. So it's not as easy as like, oh, I made this 10-minute video and now it's like 5 minutes. That took me 30 minutes. It's never that easy.
Yeah, I've found one of the best ways to do it though is using Loom. So if I want him to edit this video, I would like replay this and like lower it and be like, oh, like right here, like I want you to put this in or that in instead of like trying to have to. And so he'll watch the video and like that's kind of the instructions for the video. Or like at the end of this video, I'm gonna be like, hey, like grab this, like go to Instagram, find, Noelle's picture, like we're gonna that kind of stuff. This way I
Yeah.
felt like I was doing that in email or had to like watch back. So now it's like while it's fresh in my head at the end of the video, I'm just be like, listen, like this is what we're doing. Like get it done.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you do have a paid Discord group called the Coding Reseller Warriors. I've definitely been in the group and it's awesome. What made you want to start the group?
So, like I said, whenever I started, what really took me to the next level was joining a group. Not only, I have friends that I made through there that I still talk to today, but just being able to have that community and then those like, those BOLO leads and things that I would have never known on my own. That was like, I was like, wow, this is so worth it to be in a group because, I'm not only able to help others and others help me, I'm able to, I'm making a bunch of more sales. Like it just makes sense to be in a community with other people that are doing things like you. Because when you're an Amazon seller, your next door neighbor probably isn't one. You're really not going to find another Amazon seller out in the wild and especially be friends with them. You're probably going to start like, oh no, they're going to take my stuff. So I think it's important to have, some type of group where you can go to and ask questions because I still ask questions today. I have even a small friend group where if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm like, hey, what would you guys say in this situation? And being able to have someone like that or like a community to bounce ideas off of is so important. And so I was a part of this Discord group and I started being the person who would answer questions and not asking. And then I eventually got brought on as staff and I was providing leads and all this stuff. And I was very active in the Discord. Like I enjoyed helping others. And it got to the point where I was like, I could do this myself. Like people were asking me, oh, if you ever started a group or a Discord, like let me know. And it kind of got me thinking like, that would be nice to have my own group. Like, I'm giving so much effort and so much of my time here. I might as well run it the way I want, have the channels I want to have and help people the way I want to, and have control over that. So that was in the end of 2021. So that was in my very first year starting. I was like, okay, the start of 2022, I'm going to create a group, a Discord group, and just see where it goes. So I started it in February of 2022. And we're up to it's like 70-ish members and it's capped at 100. So it's going really well. Majority of people stay. You're going to lose those few people every month because it's just not what they're looking for. Or maybe it's, they're not ready to continue with Amazon or whatever it is. But it's been great. I love it. I'm always adding new things to it. I'm always looking for ways to help people and make it just give more value every single time. But my main reason was just like, I was already doing it in one group. I was like, I might as well just do this on my own, and kind of take control of it.
Yeah, I love your group. I mean, it's very different than other groups I've been in. I get invited to a ton of them and I've never really been a Discord person. And I'm just like, I don't understand this.
Oh, when I joined my first group, I actually canceled the same day I joined it, thinking, I don't know what the heck this is. This is like stupid. I'm not going to be a part of this. Like, this is confusing. And then within I think I had like a week or two until it was going to cancel because maybe it was a free month or something. And I was like messaging like the owner, like, hey, I actually want to stay in this group. Can you please not cancel my membership? And I had renew it because it takes a second to get used to like a platform like that. But then once you do, it's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Like I can manage it.
Yeah, that's kind of when I launched it with Joe. I was just like, I don't know, because everyone was just asking me all these questions on Instagram and the DMs, and it was just like, it just became too much. As it grows, it's just so now I'm just like, hey, you asked us in the Discord, and
That's smart, yeah.
it's just kind of it's easier for me. It's one place, and yeah, once we got it set up, we're not even close to where you are, but it's I was like, I really like this. It's kind of cool. It's easier than I thought. I've been in a lot of Facebook groups and definitely easier to navigate than Facebook.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I still have no idea what I'm doing, but it's getting better by the day. As we launched it and the link was broken. There was all sorts of issues. I'm Google oh, Discord link expired. What does that mean? How do we fix that? And all this stuff.
I know, yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person I just say learn as you go. I've always done that with Amazon, and same with the Discord. When I was it was Google how to create a Discord group, and I'd watch videos of how to create channels and all those things. So I mean, that's just how I've always been. I'm when people ask me questions, sometimes I don't even know the question. I just go and Google it and then I answer them. I'm like, hey, here's your answer. Because that's just what I know. I'm not going to pretend I know everything, but I know that Google does. So
Yeah, that's a big push for me year on YouTube specifically, like a
Mhm.
lot of people ask about like insurance or accounting, and I'm like, that's like too much, like to like kind of like just do a blind like research. So like I'm definitely like, so I had like someone talk about insurance like last week or whatever,
Mhm.
and like trying to look for things that not everyone else is talking about. Like everyone, like, yeah, it's great. Everyone's, you're doing 100 grand or whatever. Like, that's, but like, there's a lot of stuff that like you need to know. And I feel like your Discord too, it's like you have all these templates of like what happens if like all these things go wrong, and everyone else just kind of has like, I don't know, like general chat, or I don't even know what's
Yeah.
in there.
And that's why, like, whenever I have an idea, like we've done with FBA reimbursements, like I started hiring Riverbend to do all my FBA reimbursements. I don't have to worry about it. I don't like, I probably should check up on them, but like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just let them do what they got to do. And I trust them, to do it. Cause I wasn't doing it at all. When I was
Yeah.
starting out, I never did it. I probably lost hundreds of dollars, not even knowing it.
Probably thousands.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I was trying not to like make it seem worse than it was, but probably, I mean, especially with all that chlorine and stuff, I did FBM, but FBA, you just don't know until these people are experts. So, I made a channel like, what is FBA reimbursement experts? What do they do? Here's the link. So, that's just something I try to give, because all those little tiny things in Amazon is like, you're not going to know until someone tells you.
yeah.
So,
No,
I mean,
definitely. Or you see it on Instagram, like someone's like, "Oh, they lost all my inventory." I'm like, "Huh, I wonder if they're like losing my inventory." Like, I never really thought to like look
yeah.
and see like if everything's getting there.
Yeah, well, I knew about like, if your inventory, your shipment is like off, they check in 100, but you send in 120. That stuff I knew how to do. But as far as like, customer damage stuff or like warehouse damage, I didn't know how to like do any of that stuff. It's that's like the back end of Amazon that, like you said, it's not really shown in Reels, it's not shown on Instagram. No one's really talking about that. They're just talking about, buy this and make this. So
Yeah.
yeah, all that back end stuff. Because like you said, when I first used Riverbend, I mean they've gotten me over like $3,000 back since I've been using them, and that's probably money I may have not gotten if I was trying to do it all on my own.
Yeah, no, I just started using them as well. And yeah, I think they got like $1,000 back
Mhm.
just this month.
And you're like, where did they get this? Where are they finding this money?
Yeah, like a lot of it's just like lost inventory or like stuff that was like returned that didn't get returned, or I don't even know, like half the stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I'll look at the report and I'm like, see, this is why I'm so happy I pay someone else to do this. Because this would take me hours. That would take me hours to go through, check on like that. It saves you so much time.
And yeah, plus I think that's one of the biggest points too. It's like about like using experts or like paying for help or whatever. It's like when I was doing the refunds, I was like, they lost like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of stuff, and I was like, all right, like I have to like fight this or whatever. And I spent like
Mhm.
hours like finding the invoices, like marking them up, like doing all this stuff, and they're like, no, and I was like, okay. But like I've seen like Riverbend, they're like, no, like no, 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 like you don't understand. Like this is like a legit invoice. Like you have to reimburse. Like me, I was like, oh, I guess I don't have the right stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
like they're like, no, like you're wrong. Like reimburse them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They almost hope that you don't know, but at the same time, I feel like seller support doesn't even know. Like they're like, no, like I feel like they're first, like when they're trained, they're like, just say no first. And if they
Yeah,
take it, you save Amazon money, we'll give you a bonus in your next check. Like,
probably.
don't let
Yeah,
them get this
100%.
reimbursement. So they're not there to like necessarily help you save money. That's not their job. Their job is just to automate that part of Amazon to make it easier on Amazon. It's cheaper for Amazon. So you have to remember, like, Amazon's not in the business to make you money. They're trying to make themselves money. So you kind of have to watch your own back, when it comes to those type of things, because Amazon's not always going to have your best interest.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What's something you wish you knew before you started selling on Amazon?
I probably wish that I knew to get the subscription for Keepa, because I probably for the first 2 or 3 months, I was like, I don't need Keepa. I'm not spending that amount of money, which I would be spending $300 in the Walmart. I'd be going to Walmart spending 300, but apparently spending $22 on a subscription app was too much for me. So I wish that I got Keepa way ahead of time, because I'd only go off I would only base my buys off the drops. I'm like, oh, this dropped 13 times. Probably sold like 26 times. I'll go ahead and buy it. Like, that's how I thought. Like, I just didn't know. So I would just, number one thing is like, you have to have Keepa, learn how to read that, and you're going to save yourself so much money and time of bad buys. That'd probably be my number one thing that I would change if I could go back and do it over, like in the beginning.
Yeah, that's Keepa is definitely essential. I even had just for like books to kind of like figure that out. But yeah, no, Keepa is definitely, I don't know how people operate without it.
Number one. Yeah. I used to tell people too. I remember on Instagram, one of my first posts, I said like the apps I use, I'm like, oh, I use Keepa, but I don't use the paid version. You don't need it. And I'm like, gosh, what horrible advice that was.
Yeah, no. So what, I guess besides Keepa, what was like one of the biggest mistakes you think you made when you first started?
I'd probably say bookkeeping, like not getting inventory lab. Like I only recently got inventory lab because of my craft center. And I actually have to watch a YouTube video on how to use it because I don't know how to use it. And I, not being able to see that profit and loss for FBA as easy as inventory lab makes it. It would just be bookkeeping, keeping track of all my stuff from day one. Whenever I first started, I was using my personal bank account and personal credit cards. So you can only imagine at the end of the year, I had to shift through all my personal transactions on my credit card and my and like on the checking account. It was a mess. I had to print out the whole year and I was going through, okay, yeah, I think this was it. It was horrible. So getting a separate checking account for Amazon and a separate credit card, it doesn't have to be a business card.
Yeah.
Just something where it's only for the business is going to save you so much time.
Yeah, no, yeah, bookkeeping is,
That's like number one, like just be on top of it from day one. And it's easy. If you do it from day one, you never have to catch up because you've already started. But waiting until you're like, oh, I'm 4 months in. Okay, now I probably should. You're already behind. Like you just do it from day one and you'll be set.
yeah, I mean, if I didn't, I already had the book business, so I was like somewhat familiar with like what had to happen. And that was much, much easier. Like I could just do it with another like account because it was like, oh, you buy this many books. Like it was simple. OA is much more complicated, but yeah, if you're not like, yeah, I would just say if you just have personal, like just dedicate one card, at least everything will just like be there. Whether it's like inventory or like you can sort that out later, but like don't be mixing it because it's
Don't mix it. It was horrible. It was horrible when I mixed it.
What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now?
Man, I want to just go back to the bookkeeping. I really don't have a problem with like sourcing and spending money. I don't really feel like that, I feel like that's a hurdle a lot of new people have. And yeah, there's days where like it's harder than others. But for the majority, like I know that if I sit down for a couple hours, I'm gonna find something to buy. So I would say like the biggest challenge is just getting all my books in order, really knowing my numbers, like not just, oh, what am I making a month and what am I spending? Like I want to know what of those ASINs are like really profitable and why aren't those other ones working? Like what did I miss in Keepa that like, why did this tank and I didn't see that happening? Like, why didn't I catch that? So really knowing like the data and my numbers is like my number one thing that like I need to focus on this year. I actually just hired a financial advisor to get me like on the right track. So like this week was like, all right, get your QuickBooks up, get them in order. We're going to get a call at the end of the week and like go through it. So it's kind of like puts a little bit of a fire underneath me that I can't delay it because now I'm paying this person, I'm spending money. I don't want to just pay them for free and not have them do anything. So really getting that like in order, which is also helping like personal. So it'll be personal and business. So he's, I'm able to actually take money from the business and use it in a way that's going to like support like my family and being able to, create a savings account, start like having a retirement, actually thinking about the future instead of just thinking this is a side hustle and I'm just like, spending money as it comes in. Like I really want to see it as a business and not just something that where I saw it before, in the very beginning, I just want to make 2,000. Well, now I'm thinking, in the next 5 years, what do I want to have out of this? So that's really what my mindset is shifting to, is really seeing it as a business and knowing everything I can about it.
Yeah, I think that's one of I was actually talking to someone the other day about this too, and it was just like it's almost yeah, you have to put more money in or like keep the money flowing, but like it's also really important to like take money out. Like I
Mhm.
take like a certain amount out every month, and like it could be much more, but it's like I don't really need that much more, so I'd rather just keep rolling it in the business. So like, but like if the business went away or like something happened, like at least I took out. Like it's not all there, and there's like
Yeah,
other, revenues or like reserves that, is not dependent upon the business.
yeah. And you have to like, yeah, I mean, to be able to grow it and really like see that, to be able to take money out and put it into like a 6 month saving account, save up for 6 months. So if something were to happen, you have 6 months to where you have the money. Or, being able to put it in like some type of investment fund where, your money's actually still making money, even if it's not with Amazon. So really just like learning all that back end finance stuff of it, I think will may like bring down my sales this year, but I think in the long term it's really gonna like shoot up my sales because I'm gonna know more and just make better decisions and not kind of just be like, oh well, I'm just gonna take out this amount of money because yeah, my payout and that looks good. Not guess. I want to know. So that's really like I'm trying to be like a real business owner this year, and not just see it as something fun to do or how can I make money like this? Like this is crazy. So
Yeah, no, that's a really good point too. And like, yeah, I feel like last year it wasn't really till I did inventory labs and like ran numbers on like returns and stuff where I was like, oh wow, like this
mhm.
is not as profitable as I thought. When I once I understood that, like it just made a world of difference because I stopped buying all the stuff that got returned and just like
Yeah.
double and triple down on the stuff that wasn't. And like it really paid off in like Q4. Like that stuff did not get returned, and I was like, okay, like this is really important to know, like what gets
Yeah.
returned. And it sounds ridiculous, like even I don't know, we probably have like 150 ASINs or something like that, but it just is like a constant. Like it's hard to keep track of all them. Like when you just see orange bars, you assume like it's all profitable, but like when you dig into inventory lab, you're like, ooh, like I forgot I like lowered the price and like took a loss on that to like just get money back or like so like I'm always before I'm buying or replenishing, like looking at inventory labs like the ASIN profit calculator and being like, did I make money on this? Like how much was it per unit? Like factoring in returns and all that kind of stuff before like I'm like, okay, like I want to buy this again.
Yeah, and to be successful long term, you have to know that stuff. Yeah, because you're going to be losing money you don't even know you're losing if you don't do that. So yeah, it's super important to know that.
Yeah, and it is like it's not an easy task to like really be on top of it and like kind of find out like are you or are you not. So yeah, it's important to really fight through that and like kind of figure it out. What are some of your goals for this year?
I would say the other one that comes to mind is having that VA team. So I know I posted about it on social media and I even posted my Discord because I'm gonna kind of have my journey through both. But I'm just gonna hire like my goal is to have VAs who source, VAs who check those leads, and then a VA who buys those leads. And it doesn't mean just one for each. It'll probably be a
Mhm.
team. And
Yeah.
then I'll just grow from there. But that's like my one of my big goals this year is to have that fully outsourced where I'm not sourcing, I'm not buying, I'm not sending. I have a whole team that's doing it for me. And then I just maybe, I even if I have to have like a manager to manage them, that's really what I want to do this year and create that team because that's only going to free up more time for me to, whether I want to do more with Amazon, because I want to get into wholesale. That's like another one. So I want to be 60-40 wholesale to OA by the end of the year. That's at least, that's the minimum I want to be. So being able to focus on wholesale, and do that VA team would be that's probably my biggest goal is to get that going.
Yeah, that's mine too. And that's like yeah, that's gonna be like a by the end of the year, hopefully project. Like that's not like a figure that out in a month kind of deal.
No.
Um, but yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like, I kind of like partly there, but I need to really tighten it up and kind of add to that team. And I think it's always just, I feel like, I guess now that I'm doing like consistently like 50, 60, 100 a month, it's a lot easier to like all right, I could take a month and like sacrifice a month of sales to kind of get this figured out. But like when you're starting to grow it, like all you really should be doing is sourcing and not really worrying about
Yeah,
uh
and that's why I say, like, if you're just starting, like, just the basics is what you need. Like, you doing it all yourself, you need to know how to do it yourself to be able to teach someone else. Like, your VAs are only going to be as good as you. So if you suck, like, your VA is probably not going to be that good either. So you know, when I'm going to be training my VAs, I'm going to be having like Zoom calls with them, showing them like why things were good, why they weren't. Like, you have to be their teacher. Like, you have to give them a lot of your time, and so, you know, and your time isn't something to be taken lightly.
yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, I think you also have to like look at the future. It's like,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people underestimate that. It's like when you do get a virtual assistant to help you out, it's like a job on your end because now you have like someone to answer to basically. It's not just you, like, they need stuff or like whatever. You're trying to make it a good working environment and make them
Yeah,
happy. And it's
not
just
ignore
like,
them.
yeah, it's just like another like layer almost. And it's not just like a Google Doc full of leads. It's more like, hey, like we need to like fix this or fix that or whatever.
Yeah, my light just like went out, so that's
Yeah.
that's good timing because it's about to end.
No
Um,
worries.
but yeah, that's probably my biggest thing is having that team of VAs. That's gonna be my biggest thing. Uh, Probably really start looking at that in February. We'll probably start looking into that more.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Where can people find you on social or get a hold of
Yeah,
you?
so on Instagram, I'm Kona Reselling. On YouTube, I'm Kona Reselling. There may be a under score in between Kona and Reselling, but it's a little long for Twitter, Kona Reselling. I try to keep it really easy for you guys. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me, and I post stuff pretty frequently. Don't get mad at me because I haven't probably posted something in like 5 days, but
Yeah,
I'm
my
working to get
Instagram has
back to it. It's
not
hard.
been looking
January is
that
hard.
great.
January is like a recovery month for me, so it's I'm usually very low key. You don't see too much of me in the next month or so.
Yeah, it really makes you think like a lot of my Instagram is like stuff I'm actually doing. So if I'm not like sourcing or like kind of in it, like I don't really have that much to kind of
Yeah, you know,
show.
I was doing a lot of RA, so maybe I'll throw some like TBTs of Q4 or something in there.
Nice. Well, thanks again, and everyone, I'll have all the links down below. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. If you enjoyed this content, you will absolutely love the free Discord I created with amazing ASINs called the FBA Inner Circle. We do weekly coaching calls there. We answer all the questions of the people in the group. We have all the information you need to get ungated in major brands and categories. We have a list of the stores we shop at that are profitable. We have a list of stores that aren't so reseller friendly. We have discounts and trials of all the software we use. This is something we wish we had when we started. If you are interested in joining the free Discord, click the link below or head over to Side Hustle Experiment /FBA Inner Circle. Before you go, if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, or share this video on one of your favorite social media platforms, tag me. I would greatly appreciate it. I spend tens of hours creating content for you guys every single week. And I want to make sure when I do create something, you see it and other people in the community see it as well, so we can all help each other out. It would just really mean the world to me. It takes 1 second. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.